How's it going, everyone? This is Christian Duke, and you're watching Strength Addicts TV. I saw a very interesting post on November the 11th on the official Facebook page of Blind Squirrel Photography. Blind Squirrel Photography is owned and operated by photographer Ervin Bates. Now, let me give you guys a little bit of a background so you understand where I'm coming from. My national viewers, international viewers, should be like, who the hell is Ervin Bates? Ervin Bates is a photographer that surreptitiously showed up at my second physique, figure, and bikini seminar in Lansing, Michigan. I didn't know who he was. He didn't get permission. He just randomly showed up at my second seminar and started taking pictures. Brought a high-end camera, and before I knew it, had my panelists, had my guests, and he was just taking photos with them and saying, you know, this is my card. If you want to do a photo shoot, contact me, and blah, blah, blah. I'll give you a good rate. And I'm like, you know, I had 2 sponsors. I was working with a gem. You know what I mean? I didn't know who this guy was. And I just thought that was really sketchy. And I was kind of annoyed by him. But, you know, I didn't make a big deal about it. And I think he was kind of banking on the fact that if I made a big deal, it would only look bad on me and my seminar. So he kind of came in through the back door and was able to do a lot of networking without giving any money like the sponsors had and without checking with me. And I was the promoter. So I thought that was pretty sketchy. And nonetheless, we started talking. You know, we both had an interest in, you know, bodybuilding and the physique industry, the supplement industry and whatnot. And so we started talking, and the idea came up of possibly working together for a third seminar. You know, I'm always trying to make better seminars and get, you know, more panelists and more audience and more, you know, return on investment for my sponsors. So we started talking about doing a third seminar for 2014. And during this time, I worked with RX Muscle, which I still work with. I'm an associate editor and a staff writer. Really, I'm a staff writer, but you know, I've written Muscle in the Morning, and I've done a lot of things for them, and they've done a lot of things for me. I mean, that goes without saying. But they needed a photographer. You know, Jeff Saigo would shoot for RX Muscle, but also for Muscle and Fitness, and there was a lot of these sort of smaller, you know, rinky-dink shows, basically, that, in all honesty, were, you know, Saigo was too big for those shows. You know, and I'm not saying that's what he said, that's just the reality. And so we needed someone that could do the smaller shows. And so this was not publicly known. There wasn't like a casting call or anything like that. It was just something that I learned through being in the inner circle, you know, or in the peripheries of the inner circle. And so I said to my boss at Kiel Auerbach, I was like, you know, this guy Bates is really good. And I was only basing it on what he did on my second seminar. And I did see some of those shots, and I was impressed. And we were going to work on that third seminar. And so I wanted to really go to bat for the guy. Now, there's a difference between telling somebody, like an employer, I know this guy, check him out, as opposed to, I know this guy, check him out, and I'm going to email you and call you and follow up with you and really sell this guy to you. And I'm going to put, you know, my name, you know, I'm going to vouch for the guy. That's totally different than saying, hey, I know this guy, you should call him. To date, Bates has never publicly thanked me for that or acknowledged what I did for him for that. And the beauty of it is that aside from asking Dave Palumbo or Gail Auerbach or anybody that's in the know at RX Muscle, there is no rational explanation for how he got that job without Christian Duke, because it wasn't made public, you know what I mean? And nobody vouched for him like I did because nobody knows him. So I got on the gig with RX, and then we went to the Flintwood, Michigan, and that's where I found Chris Casteras and Melissa Lampkin-Hughes and some other people, and we started doing this planning stages for the third seminar. We even had lunch and talked more about it during the contest. And I have to say, though, he really didn't do anything for the seminar. You know, I found the sponsor, I found the venue, I put 4 out of the 5 panelists up there. You know, I did all the seating, all the flyers, everything was me. It was just like my first 2 seminars. And really what he did was he was able to give out his cards. He did help out with some audio stuff on the panel set itself, but really did nothing. And so after that third seminar, I found him to be not the same person that he was before I got him the job at RX and before we started planning this third seminar. Then there was a show in Lansing, and I figured, you know, he had a guy that he was really big into, and I said, let me try to do an interview with him. Now, Jermichael Pratt, who I don't like and does not like me, barred me from that contest, would not let me attend the show. And still I was able to interview a couple of really cool people but I wanted to interview this guy that he worked with out of respect for him, but also to follow up with a panelist. And Bates did not help me at all with this guy. And after that, I just realized that Bates was really in it for himself. He wasn't a team player, and this wasn't about, furthering the cause of bodybuilding. It was about furthering himself. Just like that second seminar and that third seminar, it was all about when I told him about the RX thing, like all these lights went off. He wanted to buy all the lenses that Saigo had, and he wanted to be the next Saigo, and he complained and said Saigo this and Saigo that, and these are things I'm not going to share with you. But it was about money more so than love of the sport, And there's a lot of people these last 18 months that have, I think, burned bridges with me in hopes of hitching their wagon to him, thinking that Bates is going to take them to the next level more so than I can. It's like Christian Duke put me on a panel. Christian Duke put me on Strength Addicts. Christian Duke put me on RX Muscle. I don't need Christian Duke anymore. Now I'm going to hook my wagon to J. Ervin Bates because he's going to go to that next level where Christian Duke can't go. And see, those athletes are very short-sighted. And most of them, not most of them, all of them will be condemned to the lower ranks of the NPC for the rest of their lives. They will not turn pro. The only person from that whole saga that has maintained loyalty to me is Philip Michael Williams, who's actually an IFBB pro and doing very well for himself. But a lot of the other folks, they're basically doing the same thing they were before. And then you've got your Melissa Lampkin-Hughes and your Chris Casteras, people like that continue to flourish, and they maintain relationships to him and to me, but they didn't burn me. There's people that just downright burn me because they thought this guy was going to be like, the next Per Bernal, the next, Jeff Saigo, he's going to be like, just it, the next Dan Ray. And really, Dan Ray, Per Bernal, Bill Comstock, Bill Dobbins, all these guys, J.M. Manning, all these guys, they love bodybuilding more than the money. And they're so good and so talented that the money comes. But they don't wake up in the morning and say, I'm going to make all this money. This is what drives me. They're driven by bodybuilding. If you love bodybuilding and you're real about that love and it shows in your work, then the money will come. But if it doesn't come, you're not going to quit because you're where you want to be. Now, if I didn't have this letter from November 11th, all of my gut instincts from way back in early 2014 and 2013, they would basically be completely unjustified and nothing but hyperbole. But we've got this letter, and it's written by J. Ervin Bates, and the title of it is Thanks and So Long. And I'll just read to you like a couple things of interest. One of the things that he says right in the first paragraph, I have been affiliated with the bodybuilding community mostly as a bystander since I was a young man. I remember reading bodybuilding magazine articles about Lou Ferrigno, blah, blah, blah. And then he says, so when I had the opportunity to shoot Michigan-based shows for RX Muscle beginning April of 2014, I jumped at the chance. Okay, he doesn't thank me there, and that's totally dishonest because where did that opportunity come from? It came from me. I was basically the vehicle that got him on RX. There's no mention there. Even if we had a falling out, even if we didn't get along, whatever, even if I would never, ever do another seminar with him or any business venture with him again, we still had that. Like I still, you know what I mean? Another thing that he says that I don't like in the letter is he says, as we all know, RX decided to discontinue coverage of the quote-unquote smaller state-level shows this season, which I believe as a big mistake, but it was theirs to make. And so, and you know what, that is not a mistake to make. Some of the shows that Jermichael Pratt does will get like 40 or 50 people. You know what I mean? The Flint Mid-Michigan is a rinky-dink show. And I don't mean to be rude, but I mean, I'm not going to sit here and blow smoke up people's asses. The Flint Mid-Michigan is a rinky-dink show. Both shows, the Lansing show is a rinky-dink show. The Central States is a rinky-dink show. I mean, in all honesty, there's no return on investment for a major website like RX Muscle. You have to understand, Strength Addicts is a small site. It's a fan-based site, and I try to make it bigger each year. But RX Muscle, Flex Magazine, and Muscular Development, they're on such a high level. They're on such a high level that for them to pay someone like Bates mileage and a salary and to buy his pictures, it doesn't make business sense when they've got 40 or 50 people in attendance, when the physiques on stage are nothing really to write home about, and nobody outside of that community gives a shit about the shows. It's like if I put up pictures of the Contra Costa, or I put up pictures of the Southern States, or if I put up pictures of junior nationals, there's going to be a crap load of traffic. If I put up pictures of the Mr. Lansing or whatever the hell that show's called, nobody cares. Nobody wants to see like little middleweight Jeff Vask up there. Nobody cares. I mean, yeah, he's got a great physique, but so what? Yeah, I mean, like, who cares? Now, yeah, they sometimes get a good guest poser, like the Central States had Steve Kuklo. Steve Kuklo is amazing, and I was actually asked to go and cover that show, or I had asked that cover the show, and they were nice enough to cover my mileage, and but in all honesty, then I started thinking, like, there's so many ass bags that are going to be at that show, that as much as I want to see Steve Kuklo and Allison Fraun, as cool as they are, do I really want to expose myself to like all the shitbags that really attend most of those shows? People that I really don't like. I go to Ohio because I love the NPC scene there. I mean, I love the judges. I love the promoters. The promoters are like golden. You know what I mean? When I was writing Muscle in the Morning, there's a show out in Western Michigan. I'm not going to say who the promoter is, but I put it on Muscle in the Morning twice. And I contacted that promoter and I said, hey, I just put your show up there because I think you do a good show, And the guy didn't even reply to me. I mean, that's bullshit. If I do something like that for an Ohio-based show, the promoter is like thanking me like within the day. You know what I mean? Because they understand that Arx Muscle is a big website. They understand that they got a free plug, and they understand that we truly love bodybuilding. If I contact a promoter and tell them, hey man, I just like gave you 2 plugs, because Muscle in the Morning is a 5-topic show, daily show every day, Monday through Friday, no exception. You get 2 days worth, and you don't even say thank you or acknowledge that? That's bullshit. Do you think I would want to go to your show? I mean, fuck no. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just being honest with you. And then a lot of these NPC competitors, I had one competitor, a figure superstar, that I actually discovered at the Flint Mid Michigan in 2013, put her on my panel, put her on Strength Addicts, put her on Arx Muscle. She had a good physique, and, this person is constantly taking selfies and thinks she's like the coolest shit ever and it's got the greatest physique, and she burned bridges with me because she didn't like the fact that I use the word glutes. I have a new site, by the way, called herglutes.com, but you know what, glutes is like the most professional way. Some people say booty. I know judges that say booty, that say butt, that say whatever. Glutes is, come on, that is like as professional as it gets. And she says, oh, I don't want to work with you anymore because I felt so uncomfortable. You just kept saying the word glutes. And then what do I see? I see her like hitching her wagon to J. Ervin Bates because she thinks J. Ervin Bates is going to get her to the next level because J. Ervin Bates is like God, right? Well, J. Ervin Bates just quit because he wasn't making the money, and this girl did this show in 2014 and placed next to dead last. But I digress. If you just go to this letter here, basically, that he writes, it's all about money. Bates wanted to do photography after the contest. He talks about how, he knows who these people are, these competitors that bailed on him at the last minute. Talks about how unprofessional they are, talks about how he would never work with them again, how, they're full of themselves. You can check it out at Blind Scroll Photography. It's a pretty scathing letter against a lot of these NPC people. But, I told Bates, and to this day, Powerhouse East Lansing. I've been, like, burned by so many people there for interviews. I'll charge my cameras, I'll drive, because I live in Wixom, Novi area, so I'll have to drive an hour, bring my cameras, all my equipment, prepare interview questions, you know what I mean? Talk about, pre-production, what we're going to shoot, what we're going to film, what we're going to train. And then 30 minutes before the interview, they cancel. Oh, I can't do it this morning. Well, can you do it this afternoon? Can you do it this evening? Can you do it later at night? Because I'll be here all day. No, I don't want to do it today. But thank you. Maybe next time. Go fuck yourself, okay? And that's why people like Logan Barnhart, who I put on Arx Muscle in the Iron Asylum, before anybody knew who he was, who I put on Strength Addicts, he won't talk to me. He'll see me at the gym and be like, because of some of the people he's associated with at the gym, I guess he's annoyed that I said, well, you know what? I'm not going to give you any more exposure. You and I are done. I mean, how are you going to cancel on me 30 minutes before? But I don't think Bates quite understood that. So when he was out there telling everybody that Christian Duke was an asshole and telling people that I was rude, he didn't quite get that. If people are canceling on me, doing it for free out of love of the sport, they're definitely going to do it to him, charging $150 or $200 an hour. But I digress. Check out the letter, Thanks and So Long, available at the official Facebook page of Blind Scroll Photography. And take care. Thanks for watching. Ciao.